All right. Hi, everybody. Welcome. This is so exciting. I am terrifically excited and thrilled to be here with you all virtually tonight for the first ever virtual Page One Awards, which are presented by the Minnesota chapter of the Society of Professional Journalists. I couldn't be more excited to be your MC for this evening. So my name is Tane Danger. I am the host of a show called The Theater of Public Policy, where normally I talk to very smart people. Actually, several of the folks that you'll see and hear from this evening are folks that we have had on our show here based in the Twin Cities, where I interview newsmakers and then we take all the wonderful things that they have said and they bring it to life. We bring it to life through unscripted improv comedy theater. So I am going to just hit pause for 1 second to make sure that we are live on YouTube. While we're doing that, I'm going to just say a few quick things, which if we're not live, then I will repeat a few minutes later. So we are obviously in a very different place than we kind of thought that we would be at this time 2 months ago, a year ago, however long ago. But it is wildly important that we felt like it was wildly important that we would be able to come together somehow right now and celebrate the good work that you all do all of the time. Tonight, I'm going to be with you to really try and recognize some amazing people, amazing work that has been done here in this region all throughout 2019. And I've got some great help in the virtual control room from Emma Nelson from the Star Tribune. Nicole Norfleet, also from the Star Tribune, is hiding somewhere in the virtual reality ether. And then we've got a few other special guests who will be jumping in while we do this. So, Emma, can I ask you to, next slide. I don't know. We'll figure out a better way to do this. Next slide. Good. All right. So what is Minnesota SPJ? It is the Society of Professional Journalists. It supports journalism and news organizations across the state through education, advocacy, community building. Each year, normally, Page One is the celebration of journalism in this region. And that usually means gathering together for food and drinks and speeches. Tonight, unfortunately, you are stuck with just me. I actually wanted to say last year, I believe your MC was Angela Davis, star of screen and radio. And this year you end up with me. Like, I realize it's hard times for the journalism industry, but you have an improv comedian who's best known for doing bus videos. But I am still so excited and thrilled to get to do this with you all right now. And I'll just be serious for a moment and say that this is a time I feel like more than any time in my life. And that I just had a birthday, includes many momentous things that have happened. This is a time when we are seeing in real time, live on our televisions, in our newspapers, on our streets, literally, how important the work that you all do is to what our communities look like, what we are able to understand about our world, and what is going right and what is going wrong. And whether that is with coronavirus, which is obviously the reason that we are all separate this year and not able to be together, or this has obviously been a very momentous period of weeks right here in the Twin Cities and across Minnesota, and honestly across the world, because of the events coming from the death of George Floyd here in Minneapolis and the protests that rose up after that. And there are so many people watching here tonight that were part of telling that story and are part of telling that story and are making sense of this for people literally all over the world. I am very tempted to say that you all are more needed now than ever, that you now more than ever we need you. But I can't, because I'm sure at this point that Minnesota Public Radio has copyrighted that, and I will owe them a pledge drive later. So instead, I will just say thank you all for the work that you do. Thank you for being here. And we're going to try and make this fun and exciting and joyful as we can, because you all do amazing work that we need to celebrate. Oh, this is important. Very important. I'm actually very excited about this. The SPJ has started a COVID-19 relief fund. In addition to all these other hardships that we have been talking about, we also recognize this is a challenging time for a lot of people in this industry. And so there is a relief fund that has been set up to benefit people in journalism here in our region. So there's two requests this evening in terms of this. First request, if you are able, we would love for you to visit MNSPJ website.org and make a contribution to that, so that we can be able to donate and give scholarships and dollars to people who are in need right now from this profession. Second thing that I'll just say with that is that if you are somebody who needs those dollars, or they would help in some way, we really encourage you to apply for those dollars as well, because people have been giving and contributing to this fund, and we want to give it away. So go to mnspj.org. As I noted at the top of this show, normally this is an event where we all would get together and drink, and whether your drink is like a Diet Coke or a beer, we want to have fun. So I, just because I am who I am, wanted to try and make this COVID relief fund donation thing into something of a drinking game. So what I would very much encourage all of you to do is pop some sort of drink. If you want to do an alcoholic drink, that's fun. And if not, that's fine. That's fine. But every time somebody donates to the MNSPJ fund, I'm going to get an alert from my friend Nicole, who's going to let me know. And then we're all going to toast that person and say and thank them. And I'm going to ring a bell. And it's going to be great. And hopefully I will finish this entire beer by the end of our program, because so many people have been donating, and I stopped talking long enough to drink. So. Good. All right, let's keep going. We have so much to do tonight. I'm so excited. We're going to get started. Every year, the Page One Awards has an amazing speaker, someone from the journalism community here who has done some exemplary work that we get to hear from and talk to, and in this case, this year, ask questions. And tonight, I am so humbled and excited to talk to somebody that I have listened to their work for years at this point. I have had the chance to talk with them before, but never in this kind of a context, not since their work has changed and evolved, as we'll talk about, and not in front of a group of journalists who I think will have very interesting questions for our guests. So tonight, our keynote is Samar Freemark from APM Reports. You might know them best as one of the creators and producers of the incredible series In the Dark, and we will talk about that series and that program. But right now, one thing I will ask a question by leaving it either in the comments on or by asking, sending the message somehow. So right now, I am going to invite Samar Freemark to join me in the screen by unstopping your video. How dramatic and lovely. Hi, Samara.
I felt like I was popping out from behind a curtain.
It is exactly like that. So thank you so much for being here. Okay, so there's a lot to talk about, and I know that people in the chat will have questions for you. I wanted to start with this. So I assume that it's required listening at this point for everyone in Minnesota to have at least listened to the first season of In the Dark, where you all did the story of Jacob Wetterling and the abduction and the chase from there. The second season was very different. It was a departure. You went down into the Mississippi Delta and followed the story of Curtis Flowers. And so we talked a little bit before this about how that relates to this particular moment. And I think it relates tremendously, but I just wanted to ask I can only imagine the plethora of invitations and requests that you all got following the first season of like, what should be your next story, how you decided that one.
Yeah, after we did season one, we put out a call for some story ideas, and we got thousands. We just heard from tons of people by email, Twitter, everything you can imagine. But most of those story ideas just weren't quite right for us. And I think the kinds of stories we're looking for are stories that have like a really compelling narrative at their core, but also can illuminate much bigger issues that have something to say about structures of power and about accountability, both in the specific story, but also for people all over the country. And so when this story came to us, which it did as a tip from someone in Mississippi who lived near where Curtis Flowers is from, right away, it struck us as a perfect story for us because it was a story of this poor black man who had been tried 6 times for the same crime. And it was, to us, what was the most interesting part of the story was the fact that he had been tried 6 times. It wasn't that the evidence seemed, as the tipster put it, iffy. It was that he kept getting tried again and again and again by the same prosecutor. And so right away, we had a question of, how can this happen? Like, what is going on here? This doesn't seem like it could be right. And so that's really the question that drove all of that reporting. It's like, how did this man come to be tried 6 times?
And because of our audience, I mean, one of the follow-ups that I wanted to do on that is you all are APM reports. I believe most of your team was or is still based here and then went down there. So how does that work, right? Like, how do you sort of go into a new community, different culture, different history, and just even start building what you need in order to tell what ends up being a wildly complex story with a dozen different narratives?
Yeah, I think it's one of the things that we are most lucky to have, which is time. I mean, I think to tell a story that is this complex really took embedding in a community. I mean, we've reported, I don't even know how long it's been that we've been reporting this story at this point, but more than 2 years. We did a year of on the ground reporting, more than a year of on the ground reporting, living in the community, getting to know people. There were a lot of people who were understandably a little leery of us at first because we were coming from the outside. What were we doing there? We were mucking around in this story that was a very painful story in the area. And no one really knew what a podcast was. And so there was a lot of just time it took to gain people's trust. And there were people who we weren't able to talk to for 7 months, 8 months, a year, because what it took was just being there, being around, talking to everybody they knew, talking to their families, going to their churches, going to the football games on Friday nights. And that's really what it took to establish the level of trust that we needed to be able to talk to the people we needed to tell the story.
So to center that story in this moment, I was listening back to it, and I was listening to some of the work that you all have actually been doing just recently here in Minneapolis with the uprising and the protests and whatnot. And I was reminded that all throughout season 2 of In the Dark, one of the taglines or the promo lines is, this is a story about a black man who was tried 6 times by a white prosecutor. And that struck me at the time. Obviously, right now, with where we are and thinking about race and police and community relations, that is very striking, even more so, I guess I would say. I'm curious back then when you were doing season 2, why it was important to have sort of that centering of this is a story about a white police or a white prosecutor and a black man and that framing.
Yeah, I mean, from the beginning, this story clearly could not be untangled from race. There was just, everything about this story had to do with race. And when we talk about season 2, we say it's about the power of prosecutors, which is true. But more than that, it's a story about race in the criminal justice system. It's about what happens when a flawed police investigation sets its sights on a poor Black man. And it's also about how due process can fail when the person who's relying on due process is poor and Black. And also about how difficult it is to fight this system when every level of law enforcement, from the police to the prosecutor to the courts, is all arrayed against you. And so it would have felt, I think, naive, and worse than naive, I think it would have felt just incorrect to try to separate race from this story. It just would not have been an accurate telling of what was going on. And we were driven by this question of how was Curtis Flowers tried 6 times? Why was Curtis Flowers tried 6 times? And the answer to that question, you can't get to that answer without acknowledging that Curtis Flowers is Black and the prosecutor is white. You can't do it.
So you noted that one of the wonderful things that you had to be able to report this is time, that you had time to spend there. I'm also curious about, the format that you use, the podcast format, and what that allowed you to do that you couldn't have done even in maybe a radio story or something like that. What is it that sort of allowed you to get at and explore differently?
Right. So we had the time to report, and then we also had the time to tell. I mean, I think season 2 by this point, because we released what we thought was season 2, which was 11 episodes. But then the story kept going. Curtis's case was taken up by the U.S. Supreme Court, which then overturned his conviction. The prosecutor recused himself from the case. The case is now in the hands of the Attorney General's office. And so at this point, I think we're at episode 18 of the season. We're hoping to be done with that season at some point, not too long from now. But to have that much time, I mean, 18 to 20 episodes each, averaging 45 minutes to an hour, that's like a tremendous amount of time that you could never get on the radio. It just is, the airwaves don't have enough time for something like that. And so that's a real luxury, but a necessity to tell a story like this, I think. And then also, I think it just allows people to engage with the story on a really deep level as well, because they can dip into it when they want. They can just immerse themselves in it. They can binge it, or they can stretch it out. It's a sort of bespoke listening experience.
One of the pieces, and we should talk about season 2 is sort of still ongoing, and there's a special project piece of reporting on how COVID-19 is playing out in that area. And I want to talk about that generally, but just sticking with this like format piece, one of the things that really struck me in listening to the COVID reporting from the area was that you were able to show certain things that I imagine has happened to every single journalist, like on this meeting today, who's watching this. Like there is a very pointed moment where one of the reporters is on the phone with a judge, and the judge like literally just hangs up on the reporter, and you just hear like a dial tone at the end. Yeah. And it occurred to me that is something that is probably something like that has happened to probably half, if not all, the journalists who are watching tonight. And yet it's not something that you can usually put into like a newspaper story, or you don't normally hear that on the radio. But almost pulling back the curtain of how this is being reported felt like it was part of the way that you were telling this story. Is that a fair description?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think there's 2 reasons for doing that. The first is that I think it really helps build trust. So when we trust with our listeners, not with the people we're reporting on, because we try to come to some really strong conclusions. Like we want our work to hit really hard. We want to find out things that are shocking, and we want to present them in a way that doesn't sugarcoat how shocking they are. And we want people to be outraged by our work, but they're only going to be outraged and respond to the work in a really visceral manner if they trust it. And so part of how we gain that trust, I think, is to very intentionally show the process of reporting. And we kind of think of ourselves as having a secret project of teaching people what investigative reporting actually looks like what it looks like to just be slogging through thousands of pages of court records or documents, what it looks like to be knocking on hundreds of doors, because I think people don't really understand what journalism actually looks like. So that's part of it. It's a trust thing with our listeners. And then the second thing, which is an impulse that I feel like I often have to rein myself back from a little bit, is that that I think all of us really find journalism compelling narratively. Like it's the process of searching. It's the process of like finding things out. It's sleuthing. And so it's just inherently interesting, and it has an inherent narrative arc, the arc of like trying to figure things out. And so we feel like we might as well use that. Like we're in the project of telling stories, so we should use every kind of narrative that we have at our disposal.
So I think that is, we should have like an entire hour-long conversation about that piece of trying to show and tell what journalism is and all of the work that goes into it. And particularly, again, it's an interesting corollary to a lot that's happening right now, because there are really great journalists who are covering things like the protests here in Minneapolis and all around the country. But then there's also a lot of like citizen journalists, and I think that all gets grayed and blurred and sort of who is doing what and how that looks. So I guess my question to you is it working? You trying to teach folks how like journalism, how it's important and how it takes time? Do you get people who say like, yeah, you were right. I appreciate it.
Well, I don't know if we're moving the dial in any kind of national feeling that people have for journalists, but we definitely hear from people a lot. We get a lot of feedback from our listeners who get in touch with us, remarking on that, saying how it sparked an interest in them becoming investigative journalists. We hear from a lot of people who want to be investigative journalists. I think what's one thing that's really heartening for us is we actually hear from a lot of women, like young women, who had not considered a career in journalism, and specifically had not considered a career in investigative journalism, because their image of an investigative journalist was like this hard-boiled, whiskey drinking, kind of cigar smoking, yelling dude who just like pops out of bushes and yells at people, and they didn't see themselves in that. And I think one of the things I hope we have done is showed people that like you can be a real badass investigative journalist and not be that, like have a very different tone, like a real decent, we try to work with like true decency.
Okay, so I have to ask you this then, because this is something that I thought the entire time I was listening to season 2, which is particularly Madeleine Baran, who, you know, is your main reporter, the main voice that you hear, is, and I mean this in a very good way, like the sweetest sounding person ever. Like she is just, even when she has like a prosecutor like slamming a door in her face, she's just like, okay, I'd just like to talk to you about this. And it's like really hard to imagine being angry with her. And I'm wondering if that is like something that you all talked about, like we are going to make sure that we are doing it this way, because you can imagine that other model of like an investigative journalist being like, I'm gonna like pound on your door until you answer my question, but this was not that very much so. And I was wondering, how active of a choice was that?
It's not a choice in that. So I think the premise of our show is that we are extremely tough and we're extremely persistent, and I would put our persistence against anyone in the fields. But that we also, I think we're very lucky in that we work on a team where I really believe that everyone on our team are truly good, decent people, which doesn't mean that they go easy on sources.
And I hope that I didn't make that, she asks really pointed, hard questions. She just does it very, I would say, like nicely, like not in sort of a mean, like I am here to like pants you kind of way, but this is an important question that you should answer.
Well, because when we talk to people, no matter who we're talking to, we're talking to them because we actually want to hear what they have to say, whether it's Curtis Flowers' father or the prosecutor Doug Evans. We're talking to them because we want to hear what they have to say. We don't. I think there's some investigative journalism that sees itself as like a mouthpiece for the outrage of the listener. And so they feel like their job is to just jump in there and like express how angry everyone is at this person. But that's never how we have seen our jobs. Like we have always seen our jobs as we are here to get the answers to the questions that we have and to let people explain themselves to the best of their ability. And usually, not always, but almost always, the best way to get someone to talk to you and explain themselves and have a real conversation is not to yell at them.
I agree. So we did have a question come in for you. So this is the question from Fred. Your excellent coverage clearly helped elevate the Curtis Flowers case to the U.S. Supreme Court. Do you believe reporting impacted their decisions regarding his all-white or mostly white juries?
Well, the Supreme Court doesn't explain themselves beyond their actual decisions that they issue. So I wouldn't want to put words into their mouths. I can say,
Although, I mean, the ever usually silent Justice Thomas did make sort of an allusion to, oh, there was this podcast about this thing.
well, he did blame media coverage for the fact that the court was hearing the case in the first place. I will say we talked to a lot of legal experts about why the court took the case in the first place, and I think most of them, the consensus seemed to be that the reporting did play a role, just because it brought the case to some national prominence, but also because the findings were really striking and really relevant to what the court was deliberating on. And our findings were included in briefs filed to the court itself, and so that was what they were considering. Was a lot of our material that we had, a lot of the research that we had done was what they were actually considering in their decision.
So let's just talk briefly about it's not season 3, it's sort of special project covering COVID-19 in that region. And I am curious, how you just sort of decided that was, you wanted to stick with that region. And then whether there was any conversation or how it looked in terms of thinking about how your tech or framing for that might be different than what you had been doing previously in season 2.
Sure. And just to give you a little bit of a heads up, my family, including 2 very young children, is probably going to be returning here in about 3 minutes. So things
people
really,
at
really
home
well.
have already been hearing my cat for about the last like
Hold
3
on to your horses.
This is the world we live in.
Yeah. So we were working on season 3 when the world just turned upside down, and everything changed very quickly, as it did for all of us. I think we all went home. We all season 3 kind of, it didn't grind to a halt, but we had there's a real stumbling block that was put up by the situation. Reporting became impossible, in-person reporting became impossible. We weren't getting our data requests returned. And so we started thinking, like, what can we do in this moment that would actually be additive and different from some of the other work that we're seeing around? And we realized that, like, we weren't really hearing a lot of stories, especially in the podcast realm, of what it really looks like for people to make their way through this pandemic in the way that we all are. And so we're interested in telling those stories. And at the same time, we started hearing from a lot of people in Mississippi about what it was like for them, about how their world was changing. And we were thinking how we hadn't heard that many stories from that region as well. Most of the stories have been very coastal or based in big cities. And so we decided to just give it a try, like what it would look like to try to report totally by phone, like virtually, on people in this area that we knew really well. We were really well sourced in it, and just try to tell some of the stories that we weren't hearing already. So that's what we've been doing. The last episode comes out tomorrow at midnight. So it's been an interesting experiment. It's very different than the rest of our work, but I'm really proud of the project as a project.
I mean, it is remarkable, and it speaks to the sourcing, I guess, of how many sort of diverse and interesting stories you have, because they come from all the way on the top to all the way down in all parts of the society and communities down there. I know you have children coming, so you have to go. I mean, I do feel like I have to ask one other question, considering where we are right now, which is all of journalism seemingly is having a challenge and struggle right now in terms of funding and how we pay for the news that we care about. The kind of work that you do, what we articulated how valuable and important it is highly resource intensive. And so I guess I'm just curious what you all have found in terms of in public's willing to support that, institutions' willingness to support that, and what we should take away from that.
Yeah, it's a really hard time. I'm going to be straight. I mean, it's hard for everybody. And I don't think anyone has figured this out. We're still trying to figure it out. Our listeners have been really willing to donate, but it's it's not the best time for a lot of people to donate. Like relying on member donations is hard when people are struggling, people are losing their jobs. You know, most of our donations are small donations. They come from people giving $25, $50, and that's really hard for people right now. And there's so many other causes also that need people's attention. I mean, there's everyone needs resources right now. And so yeah, I wouldn't say we figured it out. I don't think anyone has. And I'm just hoping for the best for everybody right now.
That is a very generous note to end on. And just to say one more time, the last episode of the latest project comes out tomorrow at midnight.
Tomorrow midnight. Yep. Yep.
All right. We will all be sitting up, refreshing. Oh, look, there's Fred. Okay, so thank you so much, everybody. Big round of applause for Smart Free Mark. Hi, Fred. You're muted, Fred. So.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay. Hi, Fred. So excited that you're here. And are you here? I'm going to guess to help me celebrate the fact that we have gotten several donations already for our COVID-19 funding.
Crystal.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Okay, so I'm going to read the first set of donors that we got. So here's a list of donors that we got. Nicole Norfolk. Oh, hi, Hal. Hal, you're not supposed to be here yet. It's fine. If you really want to join us okay, you're joining us for a drink. That's fine then. Okay, so we got Nicole Norfleet from the Star Tribune, Tony Webster. Oh, the infamous Tony Webster, who I am a huge fan of. And then William Conley. So big cheers to those three people. And look, there's Nicole. All right, cheers. Yay. Oh, wow.
Cheers.
Went right for the fireball. Good for you. Okay.
Wow.
We're good. Okay, thank you all so much. Fred, you're here and do you have a joke for me?
I don't make jokes, Stan.
Okay.
I don't make jokes. This is all kind of a bit odd and new and different. This online stuff.
Tell me about it.
I'm not sure I approve.
Okay.
I've got some friends who are going to back me up here. I don't usually indulge the odd and the offbeat, but
Right.
I'll make an exception for you because I like your pajamas.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, your bow tie. I'm wearing pajamas.
Yep.
Crystal.
This is great. I appreciate you've got a crowd of more than 10 there, but I think that it's okay. We're gonna make an exception.
They're 6 feet. They're 6 feet.
They're 6 feet from you. All right. Okay, Fred, you're gonna stick around and help us celebrate some of these winners that we have, but
That's the plan.
that's the plan. Okay, thank you. Fred Mallow, everybody from the Pioneer Press. I'm going to ask the amazing Emma Nelson, who is in the control booth, to pop back over and turn on our fabulous slideshow for this evening, because we have amazing awards to give away and to celebrate people who have done great work. And look, you're getting sort of a sneak preview of what our first award here is, which I am very excited to talk about. So the first thing that we are doing tonight is we are announcing the SPJ Scholarship Award winners. These are two amazing students who are going to be getting scholarships. This is a true story. I won an SPJ scholarship before I went to college. So, you know, kids, you play your cards right, and you too can end up as an improv comedy person hosting awards dinners from your home office. Okay, so they are much more talented and amazing than I am. So this year, our first place winner will receive a $2,500 scholarship. It's Vara Mina. She is a rising star at the University of Minnesota, where her work is a commitment to reporting, an eye on untold stories, and a dedication to journalism as public service. She serves on the Diversity Content Board at the Minnesota Daily, where she works to improve representation in coverage. She is a global studies minor, double majoring in journalism and global studies, including Asian and Middle Eastern studies and French. Geez, I couldn't even get through that sentence. She's majoring in stuff. That is a lot. So she's got a stellar academic performance. The judges were particularly impressed in her interviews with faculty when she was debating whether a course on Shakespeare should remain a requirement for English majors, and her interviews with peers who have have textured hair about the experience of interviewing for jobs. That is a very relevant story, especially we've seen some of the Crown laws go into effect in some other states. So congratulations to Farah Mina. Yay! $2,500. And this one, we have a second place scholarship for $1,000 going to Lakeville North high school senior Josie Moras. Josie is going to graduate from Lakeville North High later this month and attend the University of St. Thomas this fall. This is important. It is actually relatively rare for the board of the Minnesota Society of SPJ to give a scholarship to a freshman or even get applications from someone while they're still in high school. But Josie, was such a special applicant. She's involved with 360 Journalism, which is housed at the University of St. Thomas. Her profile of a St. Paul gymnast and her coach was published by the St. Paul Pioneer Press. And in 2018, she attended the New York Times Summer Academy in New York City. Her band profiles have appeared in Garage Music News. She's the editor-in-chief of the high school newspaper. She is an amazing rising star. Give her 4 years to get a degree and then somebody hire her. All right, so congratulations to our scholarship winners. All right, that's great. Okay, thank you so much, Fred. And now we are going to move to our next award, which is the Peter S. Popovich Award, which is given by the board of the Minnesota Society of Professional Journalism annually to a person or organization that exemplifies the fight for First Amendment rights. The award, this award is MNSPJ's most prestigious. It honors the life of Peter Popovich, a legislator, a jurist, tireless advocate for the First Amendment. This year's award goes to Attorney Lita Walker, and SPJ board member Hal Davis is here to present the award. And we have a video, but I think that Hal is also here. So Hal, I'm gonna throw it. Do you want to say your piece here? And Emma, maybe we should throw it up for Hal to have center stage if we can just sort of pop him out for a second there.
Okay, if you guys can hear me.
Yes.
Okay, Minnesota journalists have a First Amendment champion in Lita Walker, and we're presenting her with a Popovich Award. Last year, she led the amicus effort in Larson v. Gannett, which led to a media-friendly ruling from the Minnesota Supreme Court that extended the fair reporting privilege to police press conferences and press releases. She also led a coalition of local and national media to ensure access to proceedings in the Muhammad Nur case, the Minneapolis cop convicted of third-degree murder of a civilian. She's seeking to gain access to the identities of jurors. She argued that the public has a right to know how jurors deliberated in the case. Very recently, as in this month, she's point person for local and national media, ensuring that journalists covering the George Floyd protests are not illegally detained by law enforcement. Before she joined Ballard Spahr, Ms. Walker worked at Fager Baker Daniels with the late John Borger, who was given the Popovich Award in 2002. She is continuing John Borger's legacy daily. And her work will continue while she defends Netflix over the documentary Making a Murderer in federal court in Wisconsin. And if we have it set up properly, you'll be hearing very shortly a video from Lita Walker.
Thank you so much, Hal Davis, everybody, MNSPJ board member. That was absolutely fantastic. And as promised, we are now going to hear briefly from our award winner. So take it away, Emma.
Honor. It is an honor to receive the Peter S. Popovich Award, and it is an honor to go to work every day in the service of journalism and the First Amendment. I'm wearing this Superman shirt in honor of another Popovich Award winner, John Borger, who died this past year. John was an avid Superman fan and comic book collector, and he was also my mentor. John would be appalled by the headlines, and there are so many times that I wish these past few weeks that I could have called him and got his perspective. But he would also have been energized by the headlines, as am I. John was not a bomb thrower. John believed in humility and nuance. And I hope as you all go about your jobs in the coming weeks, you do so with humility and nuance. The journalism profession is facing challenge perhaps like never before, but so are basic precepts of our democracy, and we should remember that as we advocate for the First Amendment. So go forth and tell stories. Remember that there are more than one side or two sides to a story. There are 3, 4, 5, and 6, and give voice to the voiceless. And be ambassadors for your profession, which we need so desperately in these troubled times. Thank you again.
Yay! That was beautiful. What a moving a tribute, both as an award winner and to a previous award winner. I'm touched. So congratulations to Lita Walker. That is really amazing. And thank you very much to Hal. We are going to jump into our first main category of awards for this evening, which is one clearly close to my heart: newspapers. That's the most excitedly someone will say newspapers today. All right, but no, Fred and I, we both love newspapers.
We love them.
They're great. They're good. All right. Good.
All right.
Let's do some awards. So first up, we have newspaper breaking news reporting. And for most of these categories, we have awards to give for under 50,000 in circulation and over 50,000 in circulation. And I want to make clear that for all of our awards this evening, these are all things that were done and submitted in 2019. So if you are wondering later on tonight why, Maxie is not in here for his on the ground coverage, wait maybe till next year. All right. So with that, our awards for newspaper breaking news, we can see our second and third place awards there. Grand Forks Herald, Mankato Free Press, and over 50,000 Star Tribune and Pioneer Press. But our first place award for under 50,000 goes to the Grand Forks Herald. Tess Williams, man steals car, dies in I-29 crash. Very difficult to that. Very good. All right. Over 50,000 in circulation goes to the Star Tribune newsroom for the coverage of the Cedar River Side fire. So congratulations to all of them in the newspaper breaking news category. Yes, good. Fred, thank you for making noise in place of a roaring crowd of applause.
I'm doing what I can.
I appreciate it. Newspaper deadline news coverage, Deadline USA, under 50,000 circulation. We see our second and third place winners there. First place goes to the Grand Forks Herald, taking it away 2 categories in a row. Bright futures for GF Air Force Base. If your girlfriend has an Air Force base, do not mess around.
Wow.
All right, over 50,000 circulation goes to the Star Tribune with Chao Zhang and Labor James, or Jenny, and then Matt DeLong, guilty of murder. I literally talked to some of these people like this week. So anyway, I apologize. All right, congratulations, Grand Forks Herald and Star Tribune. Newspaper feature writing, very exciting. In our under 50,000 circulation, we've got Southwest Journal and Grand Forks Herald, but in first place for under 50,000 in circulation, we have got the Mankato Free Press. Oh, that is amazing. This is also true. My first journalism job out of college was at the Mankato Free Press. I went to Gustavus Adolphus College and got a job at the Mankato Free Press for a time. So that is awesome. I am terrifically excited for Tim there. And then our winner in over 50,000 circulation goes to John Rynan at the Star Tribune. Congratulations, John and the Star Tribune. Big round of applause or whatever noise Fred is going to make.
That was a clap and a bell together.
That's good. That's excitement.
I got creative with that one.
I love it. It's great. This is good. You're adding all the joy and excitement that normally a room full of journalists drinking would have. Okay, newspaper Enterprise in-depth of a single story, very important. Under 50,000, we've got Grand Forks Herald and Southwest Journal, but in first place for under 50,000, we have got, again, the Mankato Free Press, Address Unknown is the name of my favorite romance novel. And then, it's also a very good story. And then, in the over 50,000 circulation, the winner is Star Tribune, Jeremy Olson. Minnesota rural hospitals are hanging on for now. Whew, that's heavy. Okay, that's good. Congratulations, Mankato Free Press and Star Tribune. All right, here we go. Newspaper Enterprise in-depth, and this is for a series. In the under 50,000 circulation, we have some winners from the Minneapolis St. Paul Business Journal and again the Grand Forks Herald, but our first place winner is Finance and Commerce, Brian Johnson, Minnesota's Shadow Workforce. Congratulations. And
Congratulations.
in the over 50,000 circulation, we have the Star Tribune.
Never heard of them.
Jennifer Boris and Greg Stanley on Warm Front. All right, I'm getting a cue that the virtual hook is going to come out if I don't hurry this up. So, Fred, we are going to go into lightning round.
Hurry up, Tane.
Yes. Newspaper investigative journalism, over 50,000. We're going to just cut to, even though Emma Nelson, who is pressing the buttons, is second place. First place, Star Tribune, Chris Sears, Glenn Howard, and Richard Chong, and Chaotic Care. Congratulations, Star Tribune reporters. Good. All right. Newspaper business news coverage. Our under 50,000 circulation winners are the Southwest Journal, Andrew Hazard, The Hollowing of Calhoun Square. Or just business coverage. And then first place, Star Tribune, Adam Bell's Organics Detective. Congratulations, Adam and Andrew. Well done. Newspaper, sports news coverage. Under 50,000 circulation, first place goes to Grand Forks Herald, Tom Miller, Sydney Mook. And on the over 50,000, it goes to the Pioneer Press. Make some noise for your paper, Fred.
That's my paper.
Fabulous. All right, moving along. Okay.
That's all I got.
Sports feature writing. Under 50,000 circulation, the first place winner is Grand Forks Herald.
Yahoo!
Congratulations. I got to go to Grand Forks, apparently. They have a really
Dude,
good...
something's going right. Something's in the water.
All right. And then over 50,000 circulation goes to Star Tribune, Chip Scoggins. Yes, congratulations. Moving along, newspaper sports columns. All right. Under 50,000 circulation goes to... Dramatic pause. Grand Forks Herald. Oh, my gosh.
Oh, my goodness.
Are they hiring? Okay, over 50,000 circulation. Star Tribune, Chip Scoggins again. Wow, he's got hopefully some room on the mantelpiece for these awards. All right, newspaper, arts and entertainment coverage, hopefully of public policy inspired improv groups. No, it is actually going to the Southwest Journal, Zach Farmer. Selected stories, and over 50,000 circulation goes to Fred Mello. What?
Oh, I'm blowing bubbles. Oh, my goodness.
Congratulations. You deserve every bubble that you get. Please don't blow those at me. We still have a pandemic. All right, under 50,000 in newspaper arts criticism and review goes to Absolute Bleeding Edge and Max Spaber. Congratulations. And then in the over 50,000 city pages, Keith Harris for a fantastic piece about Robin and her performance at the Palace Theater. That is fantastic. Very cool. Newspaper columns. It is a very difficult art. So the under 50,000 circulation goes to Mankato Free Press, Tim Cron. I know that we're long on time, but and over 50,000 goes to Star Tribune, Jennifer Brooks. I love Jennifer Brooks. She is amazing. I have to just call out very quickly, third place, Mankato Free Press, Rob Murray, gave me that first job ever out of college. So
Tane, you're just making things up now.
I'm not. I'm going to say that
It all leads back to Tane.
Rob Murray should be better up, but I'm sure Tim and Jim are great. Okay, moving on. Newspaper editorial and commentary under 50,000 circulation goes to Kathy Voss at the Mankato Free Press. Oh, love that Mankato Free Press. Over 50,000 goes to the Star Tribune. Jill, Scott, and David are all amazing. Not this time, not this location. That piece got a ton of national coverage, and rightly so. Great work. Keep going. Newspaper, graphics, art, and illustration, River Falls Journal, Tim Montgomery, Trump Tunes. Terrible cartoon, but makes a point. Over 50,000 circulation, Star Tribune, Man of La Bamba. I love it. All right. Congratulations. Good job, everybody. Newspaper page design under 50,000 goes to Minneapolis St. Paul Business Journal. The beer boom is over. Sad. Over 50,000 goes to Star Tribune. Greg Mess. Yay. Congratulations. Greg Meese, excuse me. The Mueller report. Oh, that takes me back to several years ago, it feels like.
Don't go back there. Don't go back.
I'm not. You can't. Okay, newspaper headlines. I did not know this was a category. I hope that we should keep this short. They're headlines. First place, Minneapolis St. Paul Business Journal. Congratulations. And over 50,000 goes to the Star Tribune. Good job, Star Tribune. You got first, second, and third. Wow, good. All right. Newspaper, the best issue. We don't like to say they're all good. It's, Minnesota, everybody's good, but these were the best issues. Under 50,000 circulation goes to Grand Forks Herald. Why do we even have competition anymore? Grand Forks Herald is running away with this thing. Over 50,000 circulation goes to the Star Tribune's May 1st issue. If you have got that issue somewhere, it's
a collector's item.
It is 100% a collector's item. Frame it, put it on the wall. Okay, moving along. This is very important. Special award, Journalist of the Year.
Oh my God.
I'm very excited about this. Fred, I don't want you to get your hopes up, but you're not young Journalist of the Year anymore.
I am not a young journalist. I want to know who is, though.
Let's find out. It is Ryan Faircloth of the Pioneer Press / Star Tribune. Ryan was at the Pioneer Press, now at the Star Tribune. Congratulations so much to Ryan for winning this amazing award, being the Young Journalist of the Year. I am super grateful and excited for him. So we're gonna keep going. Let's hit the next slide because we have got a short video from or about Ryan Faircloth. On your mark, get set, go.
I'm Phil Pena, a deputy editor here at the Pioneer Press. I nominated Ryan Faircloth for Young Journalist of the Year for his work for us on a fellowship in 2019. He is an aggressive reporter who pays attention to the details. He works the sources as well as listens to them. The past year, we counted 35 scoops on competitive stories. From filling shifts on the weekends to his time roaming the state capitol for us, the Pioneer Press could always count on Ryan to pursue each story with everything we had. Ryan is one of those reporters we can hold out as an example for others, especially as Young Journalist of the Year.
You're muted, Tane.
Congratulations, Ryan.
Absolutely, well deserved.
All right, we are moving into the glossy world of magazines. This is where months take years. And we have got the best magazine profile story. First place goes to Minnesota Good Age. This is a great story. It is actually about a friend of mine named Rose McGee who makes sweet potato pies and tries to use them to bridge racial division by bringing people together around something delicious. That is a great story and everyone should read it. And it's well deserving. All right, good work. Thank you, Fred. Moving along, magazines, best feature story. We see second and third place. First place, Minneapolis St. Paul Magazine, The Last Day of Hemingway at the Mayo Clinic. Another great story. I had no idea about Hemingway's time at the Mayo Clinic until that story came out this past year. Great work. Moving along. Magazine, the best department. I'm going to say that is the Rochester Magazine. Random Rochesterite. That's a made-up word.
What?
Rochesterite.
Give that one a first place award.
It does. It gets an award just for coming up with what the word for Rochester person is. All right, magazine best column goes to Star Tribune. Jenna Ross, State Secrets. I love State Secrets. You learn all kinds of stuff. Great job. Thank you for making the exciting noise. Magazine, the best cover. Second and third place are there. First place goes to Minnesota Parent. The camp issue, March 2019. I imagine the March 2019 camp issue is very different than the March 2020. Ooh. All right, magazine, best page design. We see second and third place. First place, Minnesota Parent again. Congratulations, Minnesota Parent, really. And yeah, that's good work. Great job. All right, magazine, the best issue of a magazine goes to Rochester Magazine and all the Rochesterians. Rochestertonians who work at that magazine. Congratulations.
Rochester's heating up these days.
I love it. It is. It's a hot spot. All right. Special award, the best use of public records. This is the kind of award that you can call your mom about and she will be proud of you because you're their child, but not because they understand what this award really is, but it is very important. So,
it's in the name. It's right there in the name.
It's all there. Okay. Best use of public records. Second place, Tony Webster, who we cheersed earlier. But first place goes to Chris Sears and Glenn Howitt at the Star Tribune for Chaotic Care. Congratulations. Good.
Very timely.
All right. Special award, Best Use of Public Records. We have a nomination video that we wanted to share with you all. So please take a listen. Oh.
Hi, I'm Suki Dardarian, Managing Editor at the Star Tribune, and we are thrilled that the Page One Award for Best Use of Public Records is being awarded to Chris Sears and Glenn Howitt for their series Chaotic Care. This was a year-long project that showed how the state of Minnesota's Medicaid assistance program was actually disrupting the lives of the tens of thousands of people it was designed to help. People with crushing disabilities, people who needed help to receive care in their homes so they could stay out of institutions. The system was confusing. Funding was non-existent for some people and inconsistent for most. So Chris and Glenn used 5 years of public data to document the cause. The program they found was managed differently by each of the state's 87 counties. They found families who had to move across the state to another county to receive benefits. They found funding deserts, counties that granted no benefits for people with the most profound needs. And they also discovered that most of the money was being funneled to group homes, not to help people live independently. Lawmakers and officials responded to the series and pledged changes. For now, their attention has shifted to the pandemic. But Chris and Glenn are still out there, continuing to dig into public data to unearth stories of inequities in our community. Thank you, Chris and Glenn, and congratulations.
Those are great words. It was nice of Suki Dardari to join us from the set of The Haunting of Hill House.
Does the coverage get more timely?
It was a very good set of stories. All right. Fantastic. We're moving on to television, but I know that we're going long on time. We should check in quickly on if people have been donating for our COVID-19 relief, and we do have several more donations. So very quickly, I want to do a quick cheers to, hey, Fred Mello at the Pioneer Press made a donation. Thank you, Fred.
You're welcome.
Susan Yu at City Pages. Nancy Nordden gave us a donation, and then we have a couple of anonymous donations. So please, if you are of age, have a nice toast here to all those people that are helping make great things happen. Nicole Norfleet's going to join us. What is that? What's happening? Oh, it's a joke. Okay, yeah, that's a different kind of toasting. All right, congratulations. Thank you so much. Hey, everybody at home, keep donating, and it'll make this. It's good. It helps everybody. All right, let's move on. Television. That was for the beer, not for television.
I don't want to say anything, Tane.
Television. Okay, Nicole's still gonna just stick around and keep eating junk food on the screen. It's fine. This is a prestigious awards ceremony. Television spot breaking news. For under 50 newsroom employees, the award goes to KTTC. Lake City Tornado. Very hard to get an interview with a tornado, I will say. Second place went to WCCO. Fantastic. Good job. All right, let's keep rolling. And then for more than 50 newsroom employees, the award goes to KMSP, Tom Lydon, Doug Solomon, Brad Swagger, and John Michael, treasure above riches. Congratulations. Television feature. For more than 50 newsroom employees, the award goes to KARE 11. Bob and Lulu. I didn't see that story, but I'm sure that Bob and Lulu appreciate it. Probably. I don't know. All right. For fewer than 50 newsroom employees, it goes to KAAL TV, ABC 6 News. Laura Lee, Riding for Love. A horse, I imagine. Okay, television. Special project, in-depth series. Fewer than 50 newsroom employees. Our winner is KIMT News 3. Homeless for the holidays. Congratulations. And moving along. Oh, there are television investigative work. We see our second and third place here, but first place goes to KARE 11. Story Mission Critical. Whew. Okay, congratulations. Television newscast. We have a winner in more than 50 newsroom employees. WCCO this morning. WCCO this morning. That is a good one. And then for fewer than 50 newsroom employees, it goes to WDIO, which is where Dido got her start. I don't think that's true. The news at 6. So congratulations to WCCO and WDIO. All right. Television sports news coverage for newsrooms with more than 50 newsroom employees. The winner is KARE 11. Triumph, Tragedy, and Laughter.
Like laughter.
And then fewer than 50 newsroom employees goes to KBJR. Blind Golfer Hole in One. How did I?
Jeez.
Wow, that's amazing.
That's a double shake. Wow.
Wow. Okay, special award. The story of the year goes to Brandon Stahl, AJ Lego, Steve Eckerd, Gary Knox, KARE 11, The Untested. And I believe, do we have a piece? No, we are just going straight to the next category. So congratulations again to KARE 11 for that. That is a tremendous honor. Story of the year. Whew. All right, moving into radio. This is one of my favorite mediums. It's a great one. So radio spot breaking news. Our awards go to first place, NPR News. Missing teen Jamie Kloss emerged from the woods, asked dog walker for help. I really feel like that headline kind of underplays how serious that is, which is probably on purpose. That's why it's probably a good headline. So congratulations, NPR.
Incredible story. Incredible story.
Incredible work. All right. Radio Hard News Report. We see we've got a second place winner there from the Association of Minnesota Public Education Radio Studios. But first place, NPR News at Burnsville Metcalf Middle School. Racial slurs poisoned the culture. Whew. Good story. Congratulations, NPR News. Radio feature. This is a funny category because wait till you see who comes in first place after seeing second and third place.
Oh my goodness.
It is also KFAI's Mini Culture. They just ran away with this category. Congratulations, KFAI. A true resource and tremendous thing here. But the first place goes to Robert Meyer's Courtroom Theater piece. So congratulations, KFAI, everyone there, including Ryan Dawes and Sheila Reagan and KFAI. That is really cool that you swept that category. Love it. All right. Radio special project. In-depth series. The winner is, first place goes to the Minnesota Education Radio Stations Sex Trafficking Breaking Free, a 2-part radio series from KMQJ.
Well done.
Thank you, Fred. I feel like we almost lost you there for a second.
I have a little assistant, and she wanted Sprite.
Okay, that's fair. All right. Radio investigative journalism. This story, the first place goes to NPR News. Marianne Combs, Eric Ringham, Christine Nugan, and Will Logger for Innocence Lost. That was a tremendous piece again. Oh, it is really remarkable to think back on just this whole year of great journalism. Okay, radio newscast. Who will be our winner? That's right, it's 7:01 and the news is next because it is NPR News wins for best newscast. I mean,
every morning. It's on my dial every morning. It's addictive.
It is. I only feel bad. Kathy Werzer went to bed about 4 hours ago, and so she has no idea until she is up in about 3 hours that she won this award in part. So, congratulations to the whole NPR newsroom for that one. Radio news sports coverage. The award goes to KFAI again. Ringside, brown body. This I actually looked this story up when I saw it in these, and this is again some really tremendous reporting out of again a station that I really appreciate and value, KFAI. So congratulations to them and Anna for doing this piece, getting first place here. All right, moving along. Special award. We have got Journalist of the Year. I know. I am really excited about this one because I have so many wonderful things to say about this person, but I feel like I shouldn't do it. We should just reveal who is our Journalist of the Year in radio. It is Marianne Combs. I would love to know how many other people in the whole world can be a first-class arts reporter, do programs all throughout a series of protests and uprisings, lifting up the voices of people of color, and have literally a garden that probably could feed most of St. Paul in her own backyard. Marianne Combs is one of the most incredible, amazing people I have ever gotten to know in my entire life, and I am so excited for her. But don't take it from me. We have a special video from one of her amazing colleagues who sadly retired this year, but shared these words before that. So take it away, Eric Ringham.
Hi, I'm Eric Ringham. I work with Marianne Combs at Minnesota Public Radio. You know, it says something strange about our times that an arts correspondent has to also be an investigative reporter. Marianne's series on the Children's Theater Company, I think, stands as the most comprehensive history yet of the sexual abuse crisis there. To tell that story, she had to build trust in a whole community of people, one survivor at a time. Meanwhile, she was producing our weekly Art Hounds feature, which is an art form all its own, and she was covering the art scene herself with her characteristic attention to questions of diversity and social justice. Marianne co-runs NPR's Radio Camp, which gives young aspiring journalists a taste of life on the air and in the trenches. She also is a regular guest host on the NPR talk shows, and she co-hosts our podcast called Counter Stories, which concentrates on issues of diversity and communities of color. I've wondered whether Marianne might be in the wrong line of work because she seems to care a little too much. She can't really let it go and go home at 5 o'clock and forget about it, in spite of my best efforts to set an example to the contrary. Marianne deserves to be Journalist of the Year. Congratulations, Marianne.
Oh, that is so... I've seen Marianne.
That is excellent.
Marianne is a delight and a true hero of the journalism scene here. So congratulations, Marianne Combs, Journalist of the Year. Well deserved, and I love you. You're great. Okay, Fred, we have to keep going.
We got to keep it going, Tane.
Got to keep going because we have the entire internet to talk about now.
my
All online coverage that happened in 2019.
The
All right.
internet's limitless. Try to contain it a little.
Okay, we'll see what happens online. Online, best website. We got second and third place, but first place goes to NPR staff at the nprnews.org. Great website. Congratulations. Here we go. We're going to keep rolling. Online best single news story online. We've got MinnPost, but oh, look, it's a hot Sahan Journal. Mukhtar Ibrahim, monster in our community, East African youth breaks silence over addiction. If I've got the timing right, this would have been the first year the Sahan Journal was eligible for an award, I think, or maybe.
I believe that's true. Brand new.
So already getting first place awards is really a testament to what a tremendous journalist Mukhtar is and the thing that he's helping build there. So congratulations.
2 awards in that category. 2 awards.
That's amazing. All right. Here we go. Online. Best continuing coverage. We have MinnPost and Star Tribune in second and third, but first place, Star Tribune for the "This is Jamie Claus, call 911" story, which, again, like, wild that was just last year. I feel like that happened when I was like in high school.
Last year isn't a decade ago.
Right. Wow. Okay. Congratulations, Star Tribune. All right. Moving along. Online best single feature story package. We have got Star Tribune, Rick Nelson and Anna Boone, A Restaurant Revolution. Congratulations, Rick and Anna. Online best single sports story / package. The winner is the Star Tribune newsroom for an epic canoe journey. That is just.
I think I was on that journey.
It is a buddy comedy waiting to happen.
Yeah.
All right. Congratulations, Star Tribune. Online, best use of multimedia. The second and third place are there with NPR and NPR News, but first place goes to the Star Tribune. The chaotic care story wins again. 2 families plead for help. It never comes. Congratulations. Look, I see a familiar face there. What is that? Online best social media account of an individual, Fred Mello. Congratulations. Second place.
Thank you.
And first place, Jason DeRusha.
Jason.
Congratulations,
Jason. I'm coming for you next year, Jason.
Jason, please tweet about this presentation so that people know about it. Good. I love Jason DeRusha. He's great. All right. Online, best social media account, institutional. The winner is NPR News' Instagram account. Wow.
That must be the first time a news Instagram has won anything anywhere.
Fred, how long until Pioneer Press TikTok account?
Snapchat breaks some news boundary. I don't know if that's allowed.
I don't know either. We'll find out next year. Online best news video goes to the Star Tribune. Renee Jones for Medicare waiver process stresses parents already feeling pressure. Congratulations. Very good. And online best newsroom blog. The winner is Michael Rand for Randball.
Wow.
Randball. It's very hard to beat Michael Rand at Randball because he made up the game and knows all the rules.
Gonna have to look that one up.
It's not true. All right, online best independent news blog, Eric Black, Scott Russell, but first place, Susan Perry for Second Opinion in MinnPost. Congratulations. And now, online best infographic data visualization. The winner is the Star Tribune. Bombas away. That is the second one of those that we got tonight. Congratulations. I love it. Fred, you are keeping this thing alive.
I'm trying. It's hot.
Special award, Best Beat Reporting. The winner for Best Beat Reporting goes to... That's right, Reham Bashir of NPR News for immigration coverage. This has been...
You got a double bell and a maraca right there.
a really
Excellent.
timely, important set of stories for this year, for every year. But I am grateful we actually have a short video from Laura Ewan of NPR News to present this award virtually.
I'm Laura Ewan. I'm an editor at NPR News. Immigration is one of the most complex issues in our country today, so it takes a skilled storyteller to go beyond the headlines and report how Trump administration policies are affecting everyday Minnesotans. I've seen Reham Fashir crisscross the state in search of these important stories. She has traveled to small-town rural Minnesota to paint a picture of what increased enforcement looks like today. She's also documented the backlash against American Muslims and has reported on how counties across the state are wrestling with things like refugee resettlement. On top of all that, Reham brings a lot of care and context and nuance to tell stories that matter to communities of color. Reham, congratulations. I'm so proud of the work you've done, and I'm very proud to be your editor.
Oh, that is so wonderful and amazing, and I couldn't have said it any better. I mean,
Their context and nuance.
yeah. And in something so complex and so challenging right now. Congratulations, Reham Fashir. That is wonderful. Very excited for you. Okay, here we go. Moving along. Photography. This is exciting.
I like photography.
It said it's a photography section, but we don't have the photographs. Just use your imagination for what these would be. A picture of a polar vortex, a picture of selected work. First place goes to Evan Frost. Selected work. Evan Frost really is a tremendous photographer. If you haven't,
Well deserved.
yeah, if you haven't checked out the pieces that he's been doing around veterans, that in particular was a series that maybe will win an award next year. But congratulations.
Some of his pictures at the protests in front of the governor's mansion, very timely. Puts you right in the moment.
So congratulations
too.
to all three of these folks, but especially Evan. All right, moving along. Photo, best feature photography, second place NPR News, but first place goes to Alex Corman of the Star Tribune. Yay. All right, best portrait photography, first place Star Tribune. Layla Navidi, congratulations. That is hard work. Can I just say, as somebody who has had headshots taken, I once had a headshot taken, and it was so bad it ended up on a website of terrible headshots. So if you look up like the website, like terribleheadshots.com or whatever, and you scroll far enough, you will find my face.
You need to hire Layla. You need to hire Layla.
Yeah, I do. I can't afford it. All right, let's keep going. Here we go. All right, photo, best sports photography. It's all happening so fast. Aaron Levinsky, selected work. Congratulations. Evan Frost, again, second place. Eric Hilden from the Grand Forks Herald. Congratulations, everybody. That is fantastic. Oh, this is very cool. So we have a special award tonight for Freedom of Information Award. And I get the honor and privilege of announcing who that is, but then we have a special presentation video. But drum roll, please. The winner of the Freedom of Information Award for 2019 for the Minnesota SPJ is the Grand Forks Herald, seeking public records in Roosevelt, Minnesota, and other cities. And as I promised, we do have a video nominating them. So take it away.
Thank you to the Society of Professional Journalists for recognizing the Grand Forks Herald with its Freedom of Information Award. Over the past year, the Herald has worked to answer many questions about small-town governments, and especially after being stonewalled by one town that, by all appearances, didn't actually keep records. Through the work of our newsroom, we believe we helped that town, while also raising awareness in other small towns in our area. Work like this, by all newspapers and not just the Herald, is so important as many people still turn to our industry to help them find answers about the governments in their town. Thank you for honoring us with this award. We're very proud to accept.
That is very cool. Congratulations to the Grand Forks Herald.
Well deserved. We need more of that.
Yeah. Please investigate all the small towns. They all need Okay.
I tried to play a flute with that. It didn't work.
We have just a couple last things to do. We are getting towards the end of our program. Fred, if you have any noisemakers that you haven't used yet, now is the time. But we are giving away a special award tonight, Lifetime Achievement. We thought about 2019 and this strange start. The strange start is a very
So strange.
interesting start to 2020, to use a Minnesota term. We want to honor a friend and a colleague whose retirement is going to leave a gap in Minnesota journalism. And so we couldn't let them go without recognizing them and all that they have done. So this award goes to Ruben Rosario of the Pioneer Press, and editor Tom Flendrung will present the award. Then we will hear from Ruben. So first up, here is our fabulous presentation.
Ruben Rosario, columnist at Great Edition, blessed to have. I received my blessing at the Pioneer Press from 2005 to 2011. Ruben, in many ways, was a throwback to the great columnists of yesteryear, made his bones with the New York Daily News, the cop shops of the city, writing about the mob. But he was no stereotype of a tough guy columnist. Ruben has empathy, a dedication to trying to get all sides of his story, and a deep commitment to doing it right. Latest Jacob Wetteling rumor, I wanted Ruben on it. I-35 bridge collapse, I wanted Ruben on it. Vikings took a cruise on the Love Boat, Ruben. When a police officer was killed or did the killing, I wanted Ruben on it. George Floyd, damn right I'd want Ruben on it. Plus, when Ruben was reporting a story, I didn't have to wonder what he was asking sources during telephone interviews. I could hear it. In my office, door shut. I used to wonder why Ruben even used the telephone. Great choice, Minnesota SPJ, but the lifetime isn't over, neither are the achievements. Go get him, Ruben.
Thanks, Coach. Wow, that was powerful. And now we will hear...
And incredibly well-deserved.
Yes, we will hear from Ruben himself.
I want to thank the SPJ board for this recognition. Frankly, I'm surprised and honored by it. It was not easy leaving the New York Daily News after 15 years. First starting out as a copy boy straight out of Fordham University, and then spending 11 years covering the cops, courts, and GA. It was not easy leaving the Pioneer Press last month after nearly 29 years as a city editor, public safety team leader, and Metro columnist. I was privileged to be allowed to write a column that touched on the serious life issues, events, and backstories involving people who often don't make the headlines or who are often forgotten. No rocking chair for me yet. I've still got a lot of writing juice in the tank. Just wrapped up a book of columns, and I plan to write an occasional one down the road. Once again, thank you for this great honor. I hope I'm worthy of it.
I will say yes, you are, absolutely. So congratulations, the first Lifetime Achievement Award. Yes, that definitely.
Can I raise my glass in a double toast?
Please.
One to Ruben, who has been an incredible mentor in the Pioneer Press to myself, to interns, to folks young and old, and another to everyone who's been donating to our COVID relief fund. And I'd like to say some names: AJ Lago, Mr. Anonymous. Mr. Anonymous gave $25. Jill Burkham, Ms. Anonymous, Mrs. Anonymous gave $50. And their son, Junior Anonymous, gave $25. So now's the time to add to that list. Let's drink to that.
Let's drink to that. And actually, this is a perfect time. If anybody who is part of making this thing happen tonight is comfortable coming back on the screen, because we're at the end of our program. And I want to say one more time, a tremendous thank you to everybody who watched tonight, but particularly a really big thank you to the folks who did a lot of the work to make this evening possible and happen. So obviously, Fred, thank you for joining me for all of this. Hal, you are amazing to be with us for this whole thing. Emma Nelson down there, who has been stage managing this whole thing. Nicole Norfleet, you are a joy to be with Even virtually, you make everything more fun and wonderful. So thank you so much. And thank you so much to everybody watching at home. Honestly, the work you all do is so important and valuable and good. And obviously, things are challenging and hard and difficult right now, but you help us all make sense of them. And you help us all be as good of people as we can be and make our communities better. And I cannot say what an honor and a privilege it was to get to do this. My mother is a journalist. My great-grandmother was a journalist. My fiance is a journalist. So this is one of the most humbling and exciting things I've ever gotten to host an MC. I hope that we get to do it again, maybe in person next year. But until then, thank you all so much. Cheers. Congratulations to all the winners. Congratulations to all of you. I'm Tane Danger. And Fred, will you shake us out?
Quadruple shake.
Yay. Congratulations, everybody. Have a wonderful night. I'd say drive safely, but you're probably already home. All right. Good job, everybody.